Is school really a scam? If young people feel that, if Gen Zs feel that school is a scam, you get why. This guy has graduated, he has a first class, he has a second class upper. How come he's still struggling to make ends meet? You go and study elect, and then when you're done with this program, you can't even climb a pole and do one or two the way a roadside electrician would. The lecturers were still teaching outdated programming languages that were no longer relevant or useful in the current day. What is really the value of this education when what you get out of this education is not applicable to real world problems? Why am I spending all this money and all this time doing that? Then they start thinking that it's a scam. My name is Benga Richmond. I call myself the Pathfinder, and the work of a Pathfinder is to help you find paths to success depending on which area you are seeking success. This is the first episode of Young Folks Ask. I'm starting an episode where I'm going to be deep diving into popular questions, most frequently asked questions by young people, by Gen Zs, and even millennials. The burning questions in your heart that Google cannot answer, or Google has not been able to answer, or elders it could have not been able to give you the best answers you seek. I have put it upon myself to research on these questions, ask them right here in this broadcast, and give you a comprehensive, deeply insightful response that can help you navigate the path to success in your life. We are going into the very first question in this episode. Let's do drum roll. Young people ask, is school really a scam? Young people are asking all over Nigeria and by extension all over Africa, in light of all that is going on around us, is school really a scam? So let's go into that. Let's start by talking about why young people feel. They say there's no smoke without fire. So if young people feel that, if Gen Zs feel that school is a scam, you get why. So let's go into the why of that question. Young people feel school is a scam, one, because of the rising costs and student loan. If you're in Nigeria of today, I'm talking about October 2024, you agree with me that there has been a sharp spike in school fees from private universities to even government universities. The government universities that used to bail the poor or the struggling is now a lot more expensive, not to mention state universities. So in light of this, people are questioning, there is how, if this cap costs 1,000 naira, I'll just buy it without thinking. But if I want to buy this cap and they say it's $1,000, I start thinking. I start trying to justify it. Why is it 1,000? Do I really need this hat? So I think that's what's happening now with young people. They're like, with how much I have to spend, and expenses is not just in the cost of school fees. Expenses is also in time. The time you have to put in, 4 years or 6 years or 6 plus X, X being the number of years of strike or months. People are wondering, is it worth it? Young people are asking, is it worth it to put in this much time, this much effort? Well, in most cases, I know that it's parents or guardians that pay these fees, but even the stress these parents or guardians are going through to raise these fees is also a source of concern for young people. They are wondering, must I go to school and spend all this time and all this money? And when I look at those who are ahead of me, those who have spent the time and the money and they have graduated, is their life really worth emulating? Is this what I want to be? Do I want to be going about looking for jobs, applying for 100 jobs, getting none, or getting underpaid after I go through all this hurdle, and then I'm getting paid 30,000 or 70,000 or even 100,000? Is it worth it? Is it not just a scam? So because of the rising cost and then the student debt, here in Nigeria / Africa, we don't really get into a lot of student debt, but the expenses in terms of time and money is making us question. It's making young people question if school is not a scam. So another reason why young people are beginning to think that school is a scam is that they think that there's no real world skills. What do I mean by that? So you go and study elect, and then when you're done with this program, you can't even wire a house. You're done with this program and you can't even climb a pole and do one or two the way a roadside electrician would. This just reminds me of a story. Way back in OAU, we were staying off campus, and then our off campus was a 4-bed bedroom apartment. We had VSAT installed. If you know VSAT, those days, I'm talking 16 years ago in 2008, when VSAT was the exclusive preserve of banks like Zenith and First Bank and Co. I and my brother, we purchased a VSAT internet. Today now it will be Starlink, but a VSAT internet, and we are about the only people using that as side banks. So you can imagine the attention and how students and friends used to flock to our apartment back in the day, 16 years ago. And one of the students that came around, who was a friend, was an elect final year student, I think, and we had this problem in our flat. The light tripped off and then we needed the light to work, right? So that we could watch a movie or browse the internet or whatever else, do anything with light, power the air conditioner or whatever it is. So because of that, we later found out that the light that tripped off was local to our apartment. That means our next door neighbor had light, the other neighbor to the left had light, and we're just the people without electricity. So, and I was like, wow, awesome. What a time for an elect final year student to be here. Please, can you help us look into why this is happening and fix it for us? To cut long story short, he went to the cutout, he studied the pole, and instead of fixing the problem, he was pointing at, I think this wire, we need to cut this wire from this point, connect it. I think the light is called bridge, the thing bridge or whatever it is, was saying then, and that you can cut this one and join it to this one, or if we have someone to climb the pole, we can trace the fault. And I'm like, you're an elect graduate in view, so you should be able to resolve this minor issue for us. But he kept on saying it's not his job, that if it was in the workplace now, it will have to be a junior guy who will climb the pole or who will fix. His own is just to instruct. And I wasn't buying it, and I don't think the rest of the people back then were buying it. And eventually we had to call a roadside electrician who was not schooled, and then in 5 to 10 minutes he fixed the light and we all had light. And since then, it's been in my mind. I'm talking 16 years ago. What is really the value of this education when what you get out of this education is not applicable to real world problems? What is the essence of having a first class in a first class in agriculture, and when you come out, we are not seeing produce to eat? What is the point of graduating in chemical engineering? Well, let's not talk about chemical engineering. What's the point of yes, let's talk about it. Chemical engineering, and then you come out and we are not seeing any soap that you're making. People feel that chemical engineering is just about working in oil and gas. The things they teach you there, you're supposed to be able to produce stuff that can solve real problems, for an average man on the street. So, but all of these things are not happening, which is making young people question if this school that I'm going to study theoretical, impractical knowledge that is not useful for me in the workplace, why am I spending all this money and all this time doing that? And then they start thinking that it's a scam. Another reason is because of outdated curriculum, very similar to the second one, where, back then in OAU, I think the computer science department, also one of the students there was telling me that this programming language, that they are teaching us is programming language for calculators, not even advanced scientific calculator, but the basic calculator, plus or minus and division. And he was like, how is he supposed to be able to apply this programming language to the real world when he graduates? Who wants to buy a calculator? Who wants a calculator programmed, right? So he was hoping that could get advanced programming languages that could be relevant in the real world and can put food and money, income into his account. But that wasn't the case. The lecturers were still teaching outdated programming languages that were no longer relevant or useful in the current day. Now, I won't be surprised this is 2024, 16 years later, if computer science students at that school and many other schools in the country are still teaching these outdated programming languages, I will not be surprised. So, which begs the question, is school really relevant in this day when what they teach us is outdated? So young people are asking, isn't this thing just a scam? Another reason is grades over skills. So when you're in school, the emphasis is on A. Oh, I scored an A in engineering math. Oh, I scored an A in thermodynamics. Oh, I scored an A in sociology. Oh, I scored a B in this. Oh, I scored a C in that, and all that. But these A's and B's, when you graduate, you serve your motherland and you are ready for work, the workplace. These A's and B's, are they really relevant for getting a good job? So young people are asking, they're looking at their seniors. This guy has graduated, he has a first class, he has a second class upper, he must have gathered a lot of A's and B's. How come he's still struggling to make ends meet? How come he's not married because he doesn't have the resources to get married? How come he doesn't have a car? How come he's still staying with his parents after graduating school? So these concerns are valid, and why young people are wondering if school isn't a scam. Another example is successful dropouts. This is a serious one. So people now, because of internet, because of the fact that the world is a global village, they are seeing what is happening around the world. People like Bill Gates is a dropout, and yet see what he's doing with his Windows operating system. See how he was able to put the personal computer in every home around the world without a degree, as a dropout. Or is it Steve Jobs, who is also a dropout, who every Mac that you see today, or every iPad that you see today, or every iPhone that you see today that girls are dying for, willing to give their body and all for, was the brainchild of someone who did not finish school. So, or is it Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook guru, who has also acquired YouTube, the same YouTube where I'm doing this this broadcast right now? And if you just do a quick back, if you just go backtrack a bit, you find out that this guy went to Harvard, but he did not finish. He was a dropout. And then, or is it Oprah Winfrey, for those who are like, okay, give me an example of a lady who is also a dropout, who is doing great things. Oprah Winfrey, phenomenal media guru that did not graduate. And then you see the kind of impact that she's having globally on media, in shaping even the culture. Or is it Henry Ford, the very car that you see that is passing, or that you have driven, or that your dad has, that you admire, would not have been a reality if not for the creative mind of someone like Henry Ford, who first came up with the Model T, car, the very first car, advanced horse that we drove, that our forefathers drove, and now we have speed Ferraris, we have Maybachs and whatever. This Henry Ford of a guy is a dropout. So when young people read about these people, and even several thousands others who seem to succeed as dropouts at their calling, then they beg the question. So it begs the question, what is really the impact of school on success? Is school really worth it? And stuff like that. Then I am here now to kind of like throw light on the fact that yes, school is a scam if you are looking at it in all the ways that I've mentioned here, but school is not a scam if you decide to look at it from this area. What really is the benefit of formal education? What is really the benefit of being the four walls of a classroom? One, according to me and research, what school is really for is for you to, one, learn how to read. If you see me looking left, I'm considering my notes. One, school helps you to learn how to read, how to write, and how to reason. And if it is about these three skills, you can get that in a high school or a secondary school. Most of us learned how to read, how to write, and how to reason in secondary school. Remember those comprehension, remember those essays you wrote. To be able to write that essay, you need to be able to write, you need to be able to read the instructions to write it, and you need to be able to reason, to put your points and ideas together. Introduction, body, conclusion, that's reasoning. So most of these skills, writing, reading, reasoning, we got them from secondary school. So if we can get these 3 skills from secondary school, then why do we need to proceed to university? Well, the purpose of school is to learn to write, at least foundational, get foundational knowledge in foundational skills such as writing, reading, and reasoning. All right. So what else is school good for? Is for mandatory certification. So there are some degrees, there are some profession like medicine, like law, like engineering that you need to be certified. So 4 walls of a classroom will afford you that certification. So imagine I come and I say, oh, I'm a medical doctor by reading books in the library, by going to ChatGPT, by whatever else, going to Google, and I actually have the skill. I can actually practice, but no one is going to let you touch any patient because you are not certified. So for these professions, medicine, engineering, law, you need to go through the 4 walls of a classroom before you can be accredited, before you can be allowed to practice and in line with your calling. So for that reason, school is not a scam. Then what about let's talk about networking. Many people do not realize. You see some people, they're in school and they don't want to mix, they don't want to talk to people, they don't want to know people. They just like, man, my parents told me that, you see, this school I came to, I'm here to learn, get good grades, and get a good job. That is a big mistake. If you are listening to me and you're in school, well, from today, make school an opportunity to network. Don't just network with people in your department or people in your class or people in your in your year. Network with people in part 1, if you're in part 3, network with people in part 1, part 2, network with people in part 4, part 5, or part 6. Network with people in sociology, medicine, network across board. Network with people in your church, in your mosque, network with people across lines. Because have you not heard many times how some people 5 years after they graduate, they meet somewhere and then they recognize that they were both schoolmates and they were once friends or colleagues, or they did stuff together, and they now start something big. Somebody has the money, this one has the idea. Oh, because we went to the same school, they come together and build something really great. I have examples like that. For example, Jobberman. Jobberman that is so popular. The initial people who came together to form Jobberman, they met at OAU. So if you didn't go through the 4 walls of a classroom, or if they didn't go to OAU and met each other there probably be no Jobberman today. That's just a practical example, the best example I can find of why it is super important. Why it is super important for you to network. Don't just stay in your shell. Don't just bury yourself in books. Network, debating clubs, do everything to meet people, talk with people, relate with people. So school is for networking. People do not know the value of networking until you're out there, you're alone, and you can't get the things you want because you don't know the right persons. Another importance of school is for personal development. Read beyond the scope of your course. Back then in OAU, I really wasn't attending classes. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't participating in nothing that had to do with school, but I was doing a lot of networking. I was going to the library and reading books like Understanding Business. I was reading beyond the scope. I was supposed to be in OAU to study chemical engineering, but I got there and I just went kaput. I just was looking for something else other than engineering, and so that drew me to the library where I started reading Understanding Business. I started reading motivational books. It was in school that I borrowed Rich Dad Poor Dad that really changed the game for me about the difference between asset and liability, the rat race, and whatnot. So those are all the great reasons why school is not a scam. And then also starting a business. Many people do not realize that in school provides you with the perfect opportunity for you to try out a business. You have a business idea, you have about 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000 people clustered in a closed group within a fence that you can market your product or service to. You're not taking advantage of that. You want to come into a harsher real world to come and try out something you should have done while in school, but you don't do it because you're just focused on the grades, you're just focused on the girls, you're just focused on this, you're just focused on that, just focused on the men with good rights and baths, and you do not focus on starting a business. Start that business, learn all you can, Back then, one of the things that we did unconsciously was that your name, it was usually I think OAU was like a Silicon Valley. it was your name among my circles, among my network. When they're calling you, they call your first name and then the business you started. So for me, my name was Benga Dreamhouse, because Dreamhouse was a business I started. It was a media house. Anyone that I'm still doing something media related to them, I started Dreamhouse with my brother, and we came together and called it Dreamhouse. So my name was Benga Dreamhouse. There was this guy Benga Korea, and on like that. And you'll find out that most people, when they graduated, they continued along these lines. To add more flair, add more technology, add more experience and maturity to that business, and that is their bread and butter today. In fact, more than their bread and butter, they are impacting thousands and millions nationally, and some of them even globally. Imagine a brand like Jobberman. See the continent-wide impact it's having on young people looking for jobs. So that's another great thing that school is for starting a business. And then finally, school is for work study. I know that in the US and the UK and most Western countries, they don't expect you to just sit down at school. They create opportunities for you to work and also study on the side. So they call it work study opportunities. But in Nigeria and Africa, it's not a thing. I don't see many schools or many students feel the need to work while in school. They feel that parents will tell you that no, it will affect your grades. No, it will distract you. No, it will do this and do that. Maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, that was relevant. That was good advice. But now, let it distract you. Get a job on the side. Learn the ethics of work. Learn work ethic. Learn responsibility. Pay some of your bills with the money you made while on campus. Even if your dad is a billionaire, take up a job and have your personal money. Even rich kids, realize the value of money they made through their own sweat versus the one their parents give to them. So use the opportunity while you're in school to get a job on campus and all that. Get a job somewhere and then augment it with your school. If it distracts you, if it makes you get less grades, no problem. You will learn valuable out of school skills that will help you better than the grades that you have been pursuing. So do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I like to give you some Bible references so that it doesn't look like I'm just talking. And by the way, my name is Benga Richmond, and I take my wisdom from the Bible, take my wisdom from the Holy Spirit. So some of the things that I'm saying, if it's making sense to you, give honor. Give thanks to my sponsor, right? So the first Bible reference is 2 Timothy 2 verse 5. Let me read from the NIV version quickly. It says, "Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed to, and who correctly handles the word of truth." So let's do a quick exercise. Replace God there with boss, because God is our boss, right? So it says, do your best to present yourself to your boss as one approved. So why is it that many people are calling school a scam? They finish school and they're finding it hard to get a good job. Why are they finding it hard to get a good job? They blame it on the school that didn't teach them modern workplace skills. But maybe you are the scam. How about if you are the scam because you want a high-paying job, but you don't have a high-paying value to give to your employer? You want a high-paying job, but you are not presenting yourself to your boss as one approved. How do you present yourself to your boss as one approved? What does your boss want solved? What challenge is your boss having? You need to find out the skills that are needed for the job you're applying for. Imagine you are applying to be a PA and you don't know how to do spreadsheet, you don't know how to do basic presentations, you don't know how to send an email, you don't know how to basic copywriting skills to pass good information to your clients and customers. All these things I mentioned, they don't teach it in school, right? But you have to pick these skills along the line. That's why I said, while in school, develop yourself personally. If you missed that, this is your second opportunity to start go to Google, go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is free, the free version. Type what soft skills are relevant for being a personal assistant, what soft skills are relevant for being a project manager, and go on Udemy, go on Coursera and take those skills. How about that? So do your best to present yourself to your boss as one approved. So come to your boss ready. Don't bring that paper and say I got a first class in that or a second class upper in that. That is irrelevant to the challenge that your boss has. What they want to hear is, I have this skill, I can solve this problem, I can send this email, I can create this slide, I can do this, I can do that. And then they will test you, of course. And once you pass, you get hired. Now, it says a worker who does not need to be ashamed. What does it mean? You are working you manage to get a job as a PA and they're telling you to prepare a slide and you cannot. And the boss has a meeting in the next 1 hour, 45 minutes, you are still sweating, battling to create a basic slide. And then he comes and you can't do it. You'll be ashamed. He himself will be ashamed of you and be like, come on, you're a PA and you don't understand, you don't have these basic skills. So don't be a worker who does not, you should be a worker who does not need to be ashamed. And finally, who correctly handles the word of truth. In this case, who correctly does the job. Who gets the job done. Thank you. Be a worker that gets the job done. Don't give excuses. Oh, it's my school. Oh, it's my father. Oh, they didn't take me to good school. Get the job done. So, and that's it. Then the second verse says, Proverbs 22:29, the Message Bible, sorry, I'm rushing through this thing, says, observe people who are good at their work. It says, you observe the people that are good at their work. What happens to them? Skilled workers are always in demand. I can say this for a fact, the fact that I'm a tech copywriter, and I don't look for a job for too long because I have some skill set that people are looking for. And once I can position myself, I get the job done. So observe people who are good at their work. Skilled workers are always in demand and they are even admired. You need to see sometimes when my boss sends me a message appreciating my work, even though he's paying me well for it, appreciating my work, and it makes me happy, it makes everybody happy. And then they don't take a backseat to anyone. When you are good at what you do, when you have done your homework, you don't need to be ashamed. Nobody's going to put you on the back seat. You'll be relevant. Do you understand? So how does all of this apply in Green Area? If this is your first time hearing the word Green Area, it means that you haven't gone through this 7-day prophecy about a new Nigeria, where God calls Nigeria Green Area. There is a broadcast on that you need to go and watch right on this channel. Then you will understand what we're saying. How does this apply to Green Area? We want to develop people in Green Area, which is the new Nigeria, who would not give excuses, who will be diligent, who would be in demand because they are not giving excuses about the school they went to or the parent that didn't send them to school or to a good school. They are taking charge, going to ChatGPT, going to Google, studying industry trends, finding out what skills are relevant today, 2024 or 2025, and positioning so that they can be very valuable to the employer and they are not pushed to the side. So those are the kind of people that will be needed in the nation building that is to come in Green Area. Now, and what do I do when I get to the end of my what do I do when I get to the end of my session? So the question is school really a scam? After everything I've said, go to the comment section, give your own response. After everything I've shared and your own experience, come back, go to the comment section and give your own experience whether school is a scam or not. The best comments get a surprise gift which will be announced on our Telegram group. If you go to the description, you will also see a link to join our Telegram group. You will also see another link to join my mentorship program, which I'll be doing, which will go live December 31st, 2024, as a way of me giving back to my community. It's completely free for the first 500 people to sign up on that form. Go there, click just 2-3 questions, you're done, and make sure that you're part of the Green Mentorship program. In between now and that time, I will keep coming back to broadcast new questions at the heart of young people, and I'll give you a comprehensive, valuable, take home to mama response like this one. So if you learned a lot from this, imagine what you will learn from the Green Mentorship program, which will be coming up December 31st. And then finally, please subscribe to this channel. If you love this content, subscribe to this channel so that you get updates when new content comes up. I'll be posting 2 to 3 times a week, then dividing and talking about different skills per time. and then share this to someone who needs to hear what I just shared, your friends, your foe, your family. And then finally go to the comment section and drop a comment about why you think school is a scam, giving a cogent reason, and the best comment or comments, you're going to get a surprise gift, and the winners will be announced on our Telegram group. Thank you so much for your time. What do I say at the end of this? What do I say at the end of this thing? God bless you. Bye-bye.